Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Matt Bernier. Special coverage of the late pick 4 at Golden Gate Fields on Saturday, a card that features a historic race in Northern California. That, of course, being the Grade 3 $100,000 San Francisco Mile, which is the second leg of this late pick 4. We will begin the sequence with race number 6, going 5.5 furlongs on the Tapeta surface. It's a maiden claiming event. Matt, I want to throw up your ticket maker ticket play right away to show the fans what we're getting into in this late pick 4. You're using the Allburger, but the great thing about ticket makers, you can at least weigh the opinions a little bit.
And you know what? I'm really not even going to try to fake this. I don't know anything about this race. I don't have any strong opinion. The only opinion that I had was I didn't love the horses that are 0 for 9 and 0 for 7 thus far. I'm going to use them as backups. And I mean deep backups where you'll see the ticket in a little bit. But I genuinely, I don't know much about these first-time starters. I don't know much about the connections. I don't want to find out that I'll take a shot with just a couple of them and then I get bounced. Give me them all in different iterations.
One thing's for certain about this late pick 4 play. Matt's going to be alive going
baby.
into the San Francisco Mile. Me? Who knows? We'll take a peek at my ticket maker play right now. I'm going to lean on the 4 Ron again, a little bit my win plays. If I'm betting this race to win, I don't really love the horses that have run. Ron again is by Run Brother Ron. Run Brother Ron won his career debut at Bay Meadows going 2 furlongs. He was a precocious and fast horse. And from his first-time starters, they've been okay 2 for 9.
Okay.
I like Ron again. She was a pretty quick 5 furlong drill on April the 16th. I think he's a first-time starter that's going to be interesting for a barn that can win first time out. I'm going to use him. I'm going to use Tuscan Warrior, who's never been this cheap. He's got a hint of speed, making his second start of an extremely long layoff.
Yep.
And that 0 for 9, the 3 Pepper and Salt. He's got figs. And that's all he's got, because the other, it doesn't look very good on paper for him other than those figs.
I suppose the other thing, too, for me with Pepper and Salt that was just kind of a turnoff, we're turning back from a mile to 5.5. That's a sharp, sharp turn back. And it's not like he brings a heck of a lot of speed early on. I wonder if any of the first-time starters show any sort of speed early, they're going to be tough.
What might burn me is that I'm not using the 5 Get Like Me for Jed Josephson, who wins a lot of races with first-time starters. Now, you look back on his workouts and you see a lot of works at Santini. I'm not sure. I think he was with Mike Mikowski, not positive. And I just wonder if he ran himself or worked himself out of Southern California.
Yeah, it's
that they were not impressed with him, and they said, listen, you're going to come, if you're going to win, you're not winning down there, you're coming up here. Josephson does great work. He places his horses well. But for me, that was enough to take this horse out of consideration.
And that's fair. I don't think that's an unrealistic way to look at it. Like you said, maybe he's just not good enough and they said, get out of here. I do like the fact that most recent drill, 48-2, it may not sound flashy. Up on the Tapeta, it's a pretty good clip, and that was from the gate. I wonder if the idea is get him out of there, if he breaks alertly, and just send him.
Second leg of this late pick 4 at Golden Gate Fields on Saturday is your DRF.com Formulator Race of the Day, the Grade 3 San Francisco Mile. Head on over to the Race of the Day event page on DRF.com and download those free Formulator past performances and take a look at our Race of the Day video, because we go deep in the San Francisco Mile. For pick 4 purposes, let's throw up Matt's ticket maker play. I know you like speed.
Yeah,
and
many roses. I was torn between going with just the 1A and many roses, or also adding the 5 Camino del Paraiso. And I understand, going back to the stakes preview, I went 4, 6, 5, but I actually prefer the 4 and the 5. The 6 is Alert Bay. He's just rock solid. He shows up and runs his race. I think he's going to be used on every single ticket, so there's a part of me that just wants to kind of knock him down a notch. Many Roses should be loose as he wants.
And it's just a completely different scenario than in the local prep for this race on the Tapeta, where Many Roses got just cooked on a ridiculously fast pace. This time around, he could be as loose as he wants to be, and he's a pretty good horse in his own right. Give him an inch, he may take the San Francisco Mile. 4, 5, 6 for Matt. Let's take a look at my play. I'm interested in Patentar a little bit, the number 3, wheeling back on short notice, shipping up from Southern California. He just classes up with this field, it seems, very, very well. And I think he can be a little bit closer to the pace than the Timeform US Pace Projector from our Race of the Day video has him. I'm also going to use the very logical Alert Bay, who just shows up each and every time and is the defending champion in this race. And then Many Roses and Camino del Paraiso, your preferred selections, are my Bs.
I mean, isn't there just a real scenario, though, where Patentar is just better than these horses?
That's what I'm kind of hoping for. I just think from a class standpoint he fits, but it must be noted, he had a dream trip last time out. He's wheeling back on short notice, something that's completely foreign for this trainer.
Yeah.
He's got to ship a little bit as well, and he might want a little bit more distance. So we'll see what we get from Patentar, but I think he classes up and certainly fits well from a speed figure standpoint, whether it's Beyer or whether it's Timeform US. Race number 8 at Golden Gate Fields is the third leg. It's a claiming race. $20,000 is the tag. There's going to be a big favorite in this race.
Yes.
The number 2, Mended. What a great job John Martin wins 30% of the time. Anyways, done with Mended. He took this horse. He's run him 3 times. The horse has won in gate to wire fashion. Is up and headed in all 3 starts for Martin. Probably is going to get to the front one more time from post position 2. Let's see if you're using Mended. I'm assuming you are.
I'm standing on him. I mean, this is a horse I really wanted to be against him because I generally don't like horses that absolutely have to have the lead. But when you look and see who else is in this race from a speed standpoint, just to his outside, or her outside, I should say, is Pretty Emma. Pretty Emma was no match for this horse 3 starts back. And my favorite part about Mended, you usually don't see this over the Tapeta, just continues to improve the position and just draws off from these fields. I mean, look, if you beat this horse, you're going to be sitting pretty in this pick 4. I just think it's very unlikely that she loses.
Let's take a look at my ticket maker play. Mended, the number 2, is my only A. My deep backup, and I want to hear your opinion on this, is the number 4, Crimson Cloud. Now, Crimson Cloud hasn't won in a long time. She was claimed last time out for 12.5, a race in which she ran an okay third. That claim was voided when the state veterinarian ruled that she was lame. How lame could she be? She came back 12 days later, worked 5 furlongs, 13 days later, worked 4 furlongs, and is back in the entries yet again. The question is, are you heartened that Crimson Cloud was taken by relatively high percentage connections off of that race? Or do you say, boy, I can't play a horse, the claim was voided, she was lame, who knows what we're going to get?
No, I have no beef with any of that. I think it's a scenario where if you like this horse, the voided claim, for the reason that you brought up, that she's come right back and she's been working and there isn't any sort of an issue, and when you factor in that it was a high-profile outfit that wanted to take her, my bigger concern is the last win I have on my page is November of 2015.
It's been a long time, and I'm just really using her as a deep back in case something wacky happens from a pace standpoint. Someone goes out there and pushes Mended. Maybe these horses are sick and tired of watching Mended go out there and show off her heels.
I got to be honest. I mean, that is the thing, and really, I think it's the key to the sequence. If you beat her, then it's going to pay something. If not, then you've really got to wait your opinion.
Let's take a look at the finale, race number 9. A really nice optional claimer going a mile on the turf. Let's throw up Matt's ticket maker play, his completed ticket maker play, and Matt's going to stand with the 4 Riders Starlight. Now, I'm going to let you do the talking. I agree with you 100% everything you're going to say about this horse.
It's just interesting. Well, first and foremost, I think there's a fair amount of pace in this race. And I look at Riders Starlight, I believe 10-1 on the morning line, and I say, okay, well, you've got a decent enough horse here. The beautiful thing about Formulator, you can kind of darken the form a little bit if you want. And filters, and it'll show you what you want to see. So I filter all of my races, and at a mile on turf, all of a sudden you filter it, and I have 5 turf races that just stand out. They're all the best buyers of her career. And she's, what, a length and a neck away from being unbeaten 5 for 5 on the turf. I think she gets pace. I don't really care about the layoff. She's fired off the bench, and she's fired fresh in the past. I think this is a nice, interesting horse. She's a big number. She's my only
But
A.
she just seems way better on turf.
Yes.
And her last race on synthetic wasn't bad at all. I mean, Julian Coutan found that this horse was a little bit eager going into the stands the first time and tried to rate her. And the next thing you know, she's working out a last on the rail trip, and that doesn't work out on the Tapeta and turf. She came widest in the stretch. She actually closed a little bit. So I think she's in pretty good form coming into this race. Let's throw up my final ticket maker play. I'm certainly going to use the 4. I will use Top Tizzy, who should be forwardly placed. I mean, we haven't seen her since New Year's Eve. That's a concern when she was in sharp form at the time. And she did get loose last time out on the lead, but she's a hard hitter. I'm not going to hold the layoff too much against her. And at least she's going to have more positional speed early than my other 2 picks, the 4. And then I think you have to use the 7 and Unusual Group a little bit. I mean, this horse is taking a relatively big drop in class. And if you think that the 4 is better on turf, I know an Unusual Group's better on turf. 7 for 16 lifetime on the grass. Last time out on the synthetic, this horse was starting to move on the turn under Rocco Bowen, and he decided to stay in at a critical moment at the quarter pole. This horse lost a little bit of momentum, took a little time for her to get going again, but then she started rolling again in the lane. Big drop in class.
If I were going to add another A, it would be the 7 as opposed to the 5. My knock against the 5 is not just the pace scenario, which I think is probably going to work against her. You look at all of her races, the first off the bench, she's there, and she
Tired.
just gets a little bit tired
Needs
at the
a
end.
race,
And I
maybe.
wonder if the other speed in here, and I think it sets up for the 7. I also think it sets up for the 4.
It's a really fun sequence.
good, yeah, it's good stuff.
At Golden Gate Fields on Saturday. The sequence races 6 through 9, including the historic San Francisco Mile. We'll kick things off with race number 6, a maiden claimer. Approximate post time 3:15 Pacific for this 50-cent late pick 4. Best of luck.